Oh, we don't want this. Why am I on this page? Oh, this is Grok. Gotta go over here. All right. Let's see if we're live yet. What's happening? Here. Okay. We are live where we do it live. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome back to New Jersey. I'm your host, Tony D. And with me, as always, is Joan of Arc, who's being very naughty today since I came back. And Stella, the dog, is also here on the floor, but you can't see her. This is Hollywoke Hot Take, where we do it live and we talk about the box office. Now, normally, I do this on Mondays, but I actually had to push it back another day because I came back from the Smoky Mountain Bigfoot Conference. There's a Bigfoot there on the name tag they give me, where I was a guest speaker and told all the folks in Tennessee about the Jersey Devil. I was in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, and that was my big event for the week, doing Bigfoot. It was pretty crazy. Gatlinburg is a really interesting town. I'll just go into my trip just briefly. It is, how do I describe Gatlinburg? It's kind of like Vegas in its vibe, except there's no gambling. Everybody's very nice and friendly. It's a lot smaller, and it's up in the mountains. There's no beach. There are bears, though. We met a couple who, they were having dinner, and there was a bit of a view outside the restaurant, and down in a ravine near the restaurant, there was a couple of black bears just roaming around. And at our hotel, all the trash cans were locked up in these cages, and I said to one of the maintenance guys, how do I use this trash can? What's going on? He said, oh, we have bears. And he told me that a guy who was staying at the hotel had some snacks left in his truck, and a bear came off the mountain and broke into his truck and messed it all up. I didn't see any bears, but I did see a lot of people in Bigfoot costumes. I did get to go to a great restaurant called Flapjacks, where I had some of the most awesome pancakes imaginable. And I did the show, which was a lot of fun. I was on stage, and there was like big giant crowd of people as I did my talk. There's video of it, but I probably won't get it for many weeks. What else did we do? Oh, we went to country bars. Now, I'm not a country music guy, but my girlfriend loves country music, so naturally we went. And so we went to Jason Aldean's bar. He's a country singer. And the interesting thing to me was to see the locals who love country in the bar. Like, I'm used to going to bars that play, say, like rock music, right? And there's not a lot of dancing when you're listening to rock music. People are drinking. Some people are doing this. There's a few, maybe there's a mosh pit or a few dancers. It's not big on dancing. And not everybody's singing. But the country guys, there were a lot of country fans that were singing the songs. They were really into it. So it was interesting to be in sort of a different world, if you can imagine, the country world. And there was a bachelorette party where the bride was like practically naked, gallivanting around. It was very risque. And then there was like a girl with a skin tight t-shirt that said I Heart Cowboys, people in cowboy hats. This is Tennessee. Oh, I forgot to tell you the best part. We drove through Dollywood, right? This is Dolly Parton's amusement park. And like, it's not just near the town that we drove through, it is the town. So there were rides everywhere. There was a roller coaster over a gas station, and it was pretty crazy. So we drove through Dollywood, seeing like Dolly Parton this, Dolly Parton that, but that's not where Gatlinburg is. The park's not in Gatlinburg, it's nearby. So then we had to, in the rain, go up this mountain path, and it's only 2 lanes, and there's a ravine on the right, and the road's kind of tight, and it's nighttime, and I've been driving for 10 hours, and I'm going up this mountain ravine. And I made one mistake. I made one wrong turn, and then the GPS sort of reset itself and said, "Oh, well, it's going to be an extra hour now that you went this way." And I was like, "Oh no, I'm not taking an extra hour on the mountain roads." So I managed to turn around, came back, and we eventually got to Gatlinburg, and it was fine. But that was a bit crazy. It was a really nice town, Gatlinburg. It was nice to walk around. It felt like there was no crime whatsoever, quite frankly. There were families walking around, a lot of heavy-set people. You people love your sweet tea, I know that. What else did we have? We had chicken with gravy. It was good. I wouldn't pick that as my first thing, but I didn't thumb my nose at it. But yeah, it was a good time. It was a good time. I didn't want to eat too crazy on the trip, mainly because we were driving, and if you remember, about a couple of years ago, I got the gout because I overdid it at a party once. So I was worried that I'd mess my foot up getting the gout if I overate, and then we'd be stuck in Gatlinburg, which wouldn't have been too bad, but it would have been annoying. The only downside was our rental car, which I feel was not up to snuff. I got a really good deal on it, I'll say that. It didn't seem unsafe, but it made a little too much noise for my taste. It was a bit of a junk heap, in my opinion. But it was well-kept junk heap, but it also smelled like weed after a while. They had tried to cover it up with air freshener, but the air freshener stunk so bad, I put the air freshener in the armrest, because it was, air fresheners can be pretty strong. And then I parked the car, and then the next day, it was very humid. I got into the car, and it was just weed, man. It was just weed, like somebody had hotboxed in this thing a bunch of times. We didn't. We don't smoke pot, but it was just weird, and I was surprised the rental car company wouldn't have done more to get rid of the weed smell, because somebody really weeded that thing up. But we survived. We survived the 10-hour drive there, which I did in one day, and then on the way back, we stopped in a few places. We went to the Virginia Museum of the Civil War, and we stopped in Harper's Ferry, which was another Civil War place that you could read about. Yeah, we had a good time. We had a great time, in fact. It was just very tiring. I'm still sort of recovering from it. Today was my day to return the car and sort of get back on my feet, and that's where we are. And so now you're all caught up. So now let's get in to the box office. The box office, of course, I missed all the big news while I was away. We talked last week about Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, and how did it do? Well, it did pretty good. It only dropped by 27%, which indicates a lot of legs for the movie. We'll see if that holds true for next week. Now, there's been a lot of talk about the first week, which had a whole lot of press behind it, and this week too. In fact, when I was driving to Tennessee, I stopped at a gas station. I had to pump my own gas like a Philistine, because I live in New Jersey. We don't pump our own gas in New Jersey. We're too good for that. Anyhow, I get out of the car to pump my own gas, and there on the gas pump is a long commercial for the Odyssey, like a long one. It's not just like the trailer. It's like a making of, and here's the premiere, and here's Christopher Nolan and all the stars. I was like, damn, they're advertising this thing on gas pumps in the middle of Virginia. That's very weird. That's a whole lot of advertising. Right, Little Joan? All right, you want to get down? There you go. So, but nevertheless, The Odyssee's done pretty damn well. It is currently worldwide, and this includes Monday, 666 million. Now, what we know about the budget, according to the formula, the production budget was 250. Therefore, 500 million would be what it needs to make to break even for the budget, which it certainly made that. And then another 125 would be the advertising. So that would be another 250 or 125, depending on how you look at it. The formula is not an exact science, and what they spend on advertising is not an exact science. But after seeing the Odysee advertised on a gas pump in the middle of Virginia, I'm guessing that they spent the whole 125 million on this thing. I think they did. So you're probably looking at, to break even, somewhere closer to 750. But who knows? It could be as low as 625. And if that's the case, they're good. Next week, well, is Spider-Man. So that could be the end of the Odysee. But it's starting very strong, certainly, for 2 weeks. But with a summer blockbuster like Spider-Man, we don't know. There could be a lot of overlap here with the Odysee, because, I'm not sure who went to go see the Odysee beyond, say, the Nolan fans and the fans of the celebrities and whatnot. And, a lot of people say celebrities are dead as a concept, not, physically. But they do still have some amount of fan base. And when you put this many celebrities in a movie like The Odysee, well, you're going to get some sort of bump from that. And but the problem for The Odysee is this. Tom Holland, John Bernthal, and Zendaya are both in The Odysee, and they're all three in Spider-Man is it No Way Home? Whatever the current Spider-Man is. So that could be a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, I got the movie I need. I just want to see a Tom Holland movie. I'm going to go see Spider-Man. I'm going to go see the newest one, generally speaking." But we'll see. But this is pretty surprising that it grossed 90 million after last week, when it grossed 123. And 123 was above their prediction. But, they play fast and loose with these numbers, I think. And looking at the international box office, it's doing better overseas. And I was looking at the markets, and you could see it's doing very well in the UK. Like $47 million well. That's pretty damn good for the UK. Let's see. In fact, let me ask Rock a quick question. What was the highest grossing movie in the UK box office? Let's see. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be much higher than that, but still. 47 million seems pretty damn high for the UK. Yeah, this is all in Europe money. So, Star Wars The Force Awakens did 123 million, but that was in 2015. Here's Spider-Man No Way Home, 97. So, still though, pretty darn good. I mean, it's half as well. What can I ask? What was the other question now? I wanted this. I've already forgotten it. Okay. Interesting. So it did even slightly lower than, say, a Minecraft movie, which did about 57 million. I guess that's in pounds, but no, this would be in American dollars, I would think. Yeah, I think this is in American dollars. So 47 million in pounds, that would be even lower. So those movies all did way better than this, but still seems pretty good. Here, let me ask Rock. What's a good averaging box office for a movie in the UK in 2026? So it's done 47 million in 2 weeks. It's doing some math here. Oh, hurry up with your math. Your computer, do it quicker. Oy. All right, it seems to be stuck. Oh, there it goes. Still doing it? Come on. No single average. All right. So 88% of the movies did under a million. This is in pounds. 9% of the movies did 1 to 10 million. And over 10 million was 3%. So this is the over 10 million. This would be a top film. Toy Story did 49. Again, that's in pounds. And we are looking at dollaroos. Then France, Italy. I'm a little surprised that the European market did so well, because they know the Odyssey, I think, better than American audiences. But I guess they weren't upset by the changes. But then again, I don't think a lot of UK fans would be. They, in fact, would probably embrace it. It's not opening in China, though. No Chinese release for the Odysee, which I'm a little surprised by, but you know, it's not a movie that I think would offend the sensibilities of the Chinese. Although, are there any ghosts in it? They have a pretty hard and fast rule against that. No, I don't think there are any ghosts in the Odyssey. So, yeah, I mean, the movie's doing well. I think it's going to make money. I mean, I think it's going to make a profit. If the budget is 750 million, or if it needs to make 750 million, I think it will make that. I mean, next week, you know, it'll probably do at least 45 million. I would think. I would think it's not going to drop off by that much, but I think it'll probably be at least at 50. Then at or at 40, like 40, 45. So 40, 20, 10, 5. You're looking at, yeah, it'll easily make another 90 million over the next month. And so, yeah, it made money. Will it make $1 billion? I don't think so. I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. Because next week, you put it at 40. Oh, there's Indie Phantom. What the hell, Tuesday? Yeah, I know. I got back from my trip kind of late and had to take care of stuff at home, so had to push it back. But we're talking about the Odyssey. I'm trying to do the math on next week. Indie Phantom, I couldn't bear to see the Odysee. I'm not going to go see it either. I mean, the interesting thing about it is that the woman who did the feminist book of the Odyssey, the feminist translation, you could say, of the Odyssey that Nolan used, came out very much against the movie and said a bunch of critical things about it. Indie Phantom, just crazy S going on. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the Odyssey, as soon as I saw the casting choices, I was like, there's no way this is any good. But there are a lot of people, again, and I say this all the time, they just don't see that many movies. So you could show them a movie that's completely derivative or, that's not that good, but it's, Nolan is a competent filmmaker. I hate Avatar. All the Avatar movies suck, in my opinion. And they're very derivative of other sci-fi movies, but people go to see them. And I feel like maybe the Odyssey falls in that category. I think people go to see the Avatar because they don't really have good taste in sci-fi movies. They're just looking for something to kill a few hours. Indie Phantom. The box office for the Odyssey is the most interesting. I love Matt Walsh slamming Shapiro take. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, but Shapiro is not the guy I go to for movies or pop culture. I mean, I don't think of him. Same thing with Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is not a pop culture guy at all. Sure, he doesn't like the Odyssey, and I agree probably with a lot of his assessment, but, he is not a pop culture guy, I would say. Indie Phantom, are we blaming Nolan for Avatar? I'm down with that. No, but I'm saying it's comparable in that Avatar is avatared, and the Odyssey sounds, it sounds woke-tarded. Now, people, the Critical Drinker had a great takedown of it. He called it a beautiful disaster, and I think that's probably true. Again, Nolan is a very competent filmmaker. He can make cool things. However, his skills seem to be all in one particular style. It's kind of like Guy Ritchie when he made the Sherlock Holmes movies and The Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and a few other movies where he does the thing with the slow-mo in the fights and the music. Like, I love that stuff. But he doesn't do it in every movie. He only does it in fun, light movies. Nolan seems to do all his tricks in every movie. Indie Phantom, why is the Odyssey doing well, or is it? I can't even tell anymore. Well, if the numbers are to be believed, it is doing well. Now, there's been some rumors that that the Odyssey or the Universal or someone bought up a bunch of tickets. I think that's probably far-fetched. I don't think they're going to buy tickets just to fill the IMAX seats. But there were rumors that, I went to see an IMAX Odyssey and the theater was empty, but the tickets were sold out. I think that's probably an exaggeration at best. Indie Phantom, I think it's just kind of lame idea, and 3 hours is like I'm trapped in Nolan's mind. Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's not a bad filmmaker, but he's limited. And one of the things the Critical Drinker said was Nolan doesn't really get the Odyssey, right? Like, he doesn't, he can't portray, he likes to portray things as gritty and grounded. And the Odyssey isn't gritty and grounded. It's an epic poem, and it needs, some amount of epicness and a legend, and he doesn't do that. And Critical Drinker said Nolan doesn't understand it. And I think that could very well be true. Looking at this, the response to the movies, I watched like a ton of criticisms of it and various clips. I think it's just bad. I mean, look, as people point out, Elliot Page, Lupita Nyong'o, and what's his face? Travis Scott, Hamish Patel, like all the woke casting, they're not in it that long. However, they're very important components. So first, the worst one, I think, is Elliot Page. Because the clip of her running across the beach to get into position to confront the Trojans in front of the Trojan horse is terrible, in my view. Elliot is running with her arms like this and holding a helmet, and this is not how men run. Not a man who's a soldier, anyway. A soldier's going to grab their helmet, put it on, and go boom, 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 boom. So that looked terrible, and that was just a 20, 30-second clip. Now, Elliot's character isn't in the movie that long, but that's pretty bad, and she's used as a sort of a bookend, right? She's in the beginning, and then later Odysseus meets Sinon, is the name of the character, in Hell, or Hades. And so it's kind of an important role. Helen of Troy wasn't even in the original The Odyssey. I think she's mentioned, but they made a bigger role for her, but it is very short. Indie Phantom, I don't know what I liked from Nolan. Momentum was okay, but also frustrating watch and not something I would see twice. His Batman is kind of boring. Oppenheimer also bores me. I liked his Batmans. Memento, I've never gotten through it. I liked Inception. I didn't see Oppenheimer yet. I kind of want to see Oppenheimer, but it's a sort of movie I probably got to see by myself because I don't think my girlfriend could sit through a movie that long about something so boring. And I know it's kind of going to be boring, but I kind of want to see it. But at the same time, as time goes on, I haven't seen it, I'll probably never get to watch it. Indie Phantom, Ellen Page is playing a man. I don't know why I hadn't even thought that from the trailers. Just thought she was some neutral. No, she plays Sinon, who is a character that's not from the Odyssey. Sinon is from the Iliad. And the rumor is because the initial announcement of Elliot Page, everybody speculated Elliot was going to be Achilles. So then it was announced, oh no, she's not Achilles, she's Sinon. And then everybody was like, oh, we thought she was going to be Achilles and we were going to roast you over the coals. So it could have been that Nolan went back, did some tweaks, and then instead of calling her Achilles, called her Sinon. But I believe there's a line in the movie calling her like a great Greek warrior or something. Indie Phantom, oh yeah, I forgot about Interstellar and Inception. I confused them, but I haven't seen those or his war movie. I didn't like Interstellar at all. That's when I was starting to get off the Nolan bandwagon. I really hated Interstellar. I just kind of hate that movie. Batman I liked up to a point, but I mean, I did have some problems with it, but generally I like it. I really like the second one, like everybody does, but Indie Phantom, Nolan just seems like the IMAX guy to me. Well, this movie was shot in IMAX, so I'm not sure how that works. But I think the way they sort of presented it was, if you're not seeing this in IMAX, you're not really seeing it. Like, that to me was sort of the push. You could see it on your tiny little screen, or you could see digital IMAX, which is slightly bigger, or you could see the way it's meant to be seen in IMAX. So, and a lot of people went, so, but it's only 25 theaters, but those 25 theaters are charging double the price, essentially. So that's a lot of, so that's really like 50 theaters. Indie Phantom, I didn't like the Batman with Bane. No, that's the worst one, I think. It has a really lame ending. I do really like Tom Hardy's voice in it. He's the only one that I think has come close to making Bane a character that's sort of functional in the Batman universe. I always thought Bane was lame. Indie Phantom, that was also needlessly long. Yeah, this is, I think, another issue with Nolan, is that his movies are pretty long. The rumor is, since IMAX won't show anything over 3 hours, his editor ruthlessly cut down the Odysee so it would fit to 2 hours and 52 minutes. And some people who have reviewed the movie, or a lot of people who have reviewed the movie negatively, say part of the problem is the movie feels rushed and at the same time takes forever. And I think that may be the reason. I think the editor was just cutting out anything he could, like every pause he could possibly cut out without, damaging the pacing too much. But it created a sort of hectic pacing that wasn't meant for the way Nolan normally rolls things out. Indie Phantom, although better than the Patterson Batman. I like the Robert Pattinson Batman. I thought he was good. I also said, which a lot of reviewers agree with, that Robert Pattinson in the Odysee is the best thing in it. He really delivers a good performance, whereas everybody else seems to be either half asleep or just doing whatever they do. So, like, Matt Damon, I think, is completely miscast. I don't think he's a good Odysseus. He just seems lame and boring, and like, he could have been a good second in command for Odysseus, a guy who would boss Matt Damon around and he'd just go, okay, boss. But, yeah. Indie Phantom, when a 3-hour movie feels rushed, you know something is wrong. Yeah, but there's no denying people are going to see it. So, well, I guess there is a few conspiracy theories, but none of that's been proved. And there's also another conspiracy theory, but I don't think this is a conspiracy theory. There was some evidence that the Rotten Tomatoes score was not legit. Someone got into the code in Rotten Tomatoes and said in the code you can see that they eliminated a bunch of the ratings to get to 97% for the audience. However, I can also believe that a bunch of people who are modern moviegoers could watch a functionally good movie, like, because Nolan's movies are functionally good, but, not ding it for Elliot Page or the dialogue, which I've also heard is just crap and it's in American vernacular. So, Indie Phantom, I have not seen a Matt Damon movie probably since his second Bourne flick. He's just wrong for the role, I think. I don't think he looks like Odysseus. He doesn't look Greek. He's just too corn-fed. He just seems like a guy who they need. I mean, Ralph Fiennes just played him in 2024 in a movie called The Return. And, he's English. So when an English guy delivers haughty, epic lines, they sound important. When Matt Damon just says something like, I guess I'll go back to Ithaca. Like, who cares? It doesn't feel like, something epic. Indie Phantom, I confess, Tony, I broke the RT code just to F with everyone. Don't rat me out. Oh, okay. No, somebody legitimately broke into it and said, no, the real score is 56%. I would love to see that, proved. I personally don't know enough about computers and code to prove that that's correct. But, this site, right, Rotten Tomatoes, is owned by the same people who basically greenlit the Odysee. So I wouldn't expect Rotten Tomatoes to give it a bad score. Indie Phantom, when Matt Damon says something, who cares? Yeah. Matt Damon. I feel that way about Ben Affleck, too. Except when they're doing, Good Will Hunting, or when Ben Affleck is doing The Town and he's a criminal. Then their voices work. Matt Damon and Ben Affleck just did that cop movie. I'm sure they're fine in it because I could see them as cops. I can't see him as the king in ancient Greece. I just can't see him. Armand Ansante, I think that's his name. He played Odysseus in a movie from decades ago, I think, and he sounded good. He has an accent. I don't think it's Greek. I think he's more Italian. But he sounded like a guy who would kill you if you messed with his woman and his kingdom and all that good stuff. Matt Damon just sounds like the guy who, you messed with my family and my kingdom. So, yeah, you're gonna have to go to jail. He's not aggressive enough, in my opinion. Indie Phantom, I think it's cool if Rotten Tomatoes gets hacked. Yeah, I didn't like Affleck as Batman either. Yeah, he's perfect for Bruce Wayne, but as Batman, I don't see it. Nice shirt, by the way, Tony. Oh, thank you. This is a Mark Dice shirt I got a few years ago. So, the Odysee, and look, people can like this movie. It's fine to like things that I don't like. A lot of people got on me on Twitter. I don't know why. But there were people who defended this movie like it was their baby or something. To those people, I say, okay, enjoy the Odysee then, I guess. Enjoy it. I don't care if you enjoy it. I'm just not going to see it or support it. I don't want to support a movie that's going to, is a Greek epic, and then you're not going to cast any Greek people in it. That seems wrong. It also seems wrong that they didn't even send the press stuff to Greece. Indie Phantom, F yeah, Mark Dice. I bought one of his books. Oh, did you buy the one on Hollywood? That's a pretty good one, I hear. But yeah, looking at... Oh, let's see. Did this thing even open in Greece? Yes, it did. It made $1.4 million in 126 screens. And it's so far made $3.7 million. So, some people in Greece saw it. Indie Phantom, not supporting the Odysee feels right. Yeah, I've been saying this for how long? If you don't like these woke tards, if you feel that they're destroying the culture, stop giving them your money. Just stop giving them your money. Eventually they're going to learn, but it requires a lot of people not to give. I mean, normies are normies. Normies see whatever's popular. If everybody's talking about the Odysee, most normies are going to bow to peer pressure and go see it. Indie Phantom, yeah, the Hollywood book by Dice is solid. Much better research than expected. A serious read. He's a good researcher, I think. He normally backs up his videos pretty well. But for me, the biggest FU about the Odysee is that the woman who wrote the feminist version of the Odyssey for Nolan to use doesn't like the movie. She said something like, I would be embarrassed if I had written this script. That's a pretty damning indictment. But it also, to me, points to the whole thing about subverting expectations. I think Nolan, like a lot of Hollywood guys, set out to subvert expectations. So the first thing he did was say, what's the most crazy version of the Odyssey I can get my hands on? And someone in his office probably told him, oh, there's this feminist who did a feminist version of the Odyssey. Okay, get that book. Now, did he follow it? No, of course not. I think his ego said, oh, he probably read it and said, okay, whatever. And then he turned around and did whatever the hell he wanted. So, Indie Phantom, why fund wokeness, I say? Yeah, eventually people will get the message. But some people just don't care. Some people just don't watch enough movies and TV shows to really care all that much about them. To them, it's just noise. To them, it's just like keys shaking in front of them like a baby. They just want to be distracted from their humdrum lives for a brief moment. And there's nothing wrong with that. To them, it's not important. It's about as important as they walk into a mini mart and get a beverage or a candy bar. Which one do they choose? And they don't really care, right? If they're all kind of the same, one is as good as the other to them. And that's kind of the way I think they feel about movies. This is the summer blockbuster, I'm going to go see it. If you're in the movies, Spider-Man's coming out. Oh yeah, we got to go see it because everybody's seeing Spider-Man. So whether or not it's woke is unimportant. Right now, it's still a thing that, most women drive the whole wokeness thing. So if there's a woman and she wants to see the Odyssey because it's written by a feminist or whatever, or she feels she has to defend it from the detractors online, she's going to go see it. I mean, there was a guy online who he went to go see the Odyssey, and I think half the reason he went is because he was defending the movie online over and over again, and then he went to see the Odyssey just to prove, haha, I'm going to see the Odyssey, and he took a picture of the theater with the people in it, to which I was like, look, I'm not going to see the Odyssey, but I'm also not going to, do something about that. I mean, the closest thing I did was let me see if I can find it now. I made a movie poster clowning on the Odyssey. Where is it? No, that one, that's the one that didn't come out. Where is it? This was me. I was trying to do a version of me and Joan, and that's what the AI came up with. That let's see. Where's the clown one? Oh, here we go. It took a few takes, but this is the Odyssey movie poster. See, I made all the characters clowns. And I posted that, I forget when. Indie Phantom, I am surprised normies will see a 3-hour flick. They will, I think, in the summer. Because in the summer, it's a little more about, like, we're going to do something and we want to do it for a while. I will not be seeing Spider-Man. Oh, okay. I'll be seeing Spider-Man. I don't know if I'll bother to go to theaters, but I do want to see it. Supergirl hit streaming already, which is hilarious. It is. And the same people defending the Odyssey are the same people who defended Supergirl, roughly. And, they sort of just fade from the internet once Supergirl crashed and burned. Now that the Odyssey's winning, they're just, they're all on social media saying, aha, the chuds, they're all in cope mode because the Odyssey's making money. Indie Phantom, Asylum does have a version of the Odyssey out now. Oh, cool. Yeah, I don't care. I mean, who cares? I'm just not going to waste my money on it. That's all. Where I did put my money was, and you can see my recent reviews on Backrooms and Obsession, which were both really good. I gave them both nines, very solid nines. Highly recommend Backrooms and Obsession. They were both really, really good. And I would rather see movies like that than to see some sort of Odysee that, again, has got a bunch of DEI actors in it just to get an Oscar nod. And, and one of the big problems with Nolan, and this is a frequent complaint, his sound is bad and his endings are bad. And I agree with that. The endings of all the movies of his that I like are bad. I didn't like the ending for any of his movies. Now that I think about it, yeah, Batman, even the Joker movie, it just kind of ends, because it just, what are you going to do after a while? And look, some directors are just not good in some projects. I think Nolan has his limits, and I think his limit is, he can't, like, if you got Nolan to do King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table, I think it would be bad. Much like the Odyssey, I think he would ground it, and grounding it, he would push out all the, the magic in it, all the fun. I mean, Odysseus is a character who's a trickster, and he's a fun character who goes on an adventure. And the Critical Drinker said that, this movie is I think he said it's a journey without a destination, an epic without a hero, something like that. Basically, he is missing the forest from the trees. He's made the Odyssey, but he's done everything he could to not make it epic. So, yeah, and Helen of Troy, like, why is she black and no one else in the cast other than Zendaya? And Zendaya doesn't kind of count because, number one, she's very light-skinned, and number two, even though she's not Greek, but number two, she plays a goddess, so a goddess can appear however she wants. But clearly, Lupita Nyong'o didn't belong in the cast. And, like, if you're gonna have one black actress in the cast, then why weren't some of the other background actors black? Like, why, what percentage of people in ancient Greece were black? Well, the answer is 0, but at least in Nolan's world, what is it? It's got to be more than 1 or 2. She plays twin sisters. So, Indie Phantom, I did like Backrooms more than Obsession. Neither really grabbed me story-wise. Obsession was just crazy. It lost me with the whole chocolate bar wish element. I know it's kind of fantasy, but that was a stretch. Yeah, it gets a bit nuts at the end. The thing I loved about Obsession was I thought the woman who played Nikki, her name's Indy Navrit, was really good. She went from 0 to 60 like that, and I was like, whoa. And she also played, in the beginning of the movie, Nikki is totally 100% normal, and she plays that very well. But then when she's playing all these scenes in which she makes everybody feel awkward, it was really on point. Indie Phantom also found it kind of goofy. Guy wished for $1 billion. Yeah, and it just starts raining out of the ceiling. But at that point, the movie was heading to be over, and they had to get rid of the friend because he found a loophole to get out of the wish, right? He just needed somebody else to do the wish. But Yeah, they probably could have done that better. But I still liked it. That's why I gave it a 9 and not a 10. Same thing for Backrooms. Like, Backrooms still leaves me wanting more further explanation on the Backrooms. I like that it's kind of unknown, but I also want more info. I didn't quite get enough. But I'm willing to, since both movies were entertaining, I'm willing to give these guys a lot more rope. But now with Christopher Nolan, I'm off the Christopher Nolan train completely now. So I may never go see Oppenheimer or whatever. I'm certainly not going to pay for it. And that's the metric now, right? It's like a really good movie you're going to go see in the theaters and pay top dollar for. A movie you can wait for, you're going to wait for it to come on streaming, save a few bucks. And a movie you don't need to see at all, well, you could just wait forever on that score or wait until it's free. And then you have nothing else to watch and you just watch it anyway. Indie Phantom, I think I was expecting something more grounded, like Fatal Attraction. Lots of crazy bees out there. Don't need help being insane. Yeah, I am guessing the Sector's obsession will get into lore. Get into lore. Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing a sequel, possibly Backrooms 2. Well, they'll definitely do a Backrooms sequel. I think a sequel for Obsession would be, it would just be a different group of characters and a different wish, and how it goes completely wrong. It's very much a Twilight Zone episode. And I felt like Obsession was a good concept, or not a good, well, a solid concept that had been done many, many times, and a really good execution with a slightly different sort of crazy ending. Indie Phantom sequels, I knew you meant sequels. And then in Backrooms, I thought the concept was mind-blowing and pretty new. And I'd like to see him flesh it out even more. So, or they might do it. I mean, they could go right to a TV show for Backrooms. That would be kind of crazy. But I would hope. The thing I really liked about Backrooms, spoilers, or I'll try not to spoil it, but was the intensity of the ending with one of the characters, I'll say. Not to give it away. It was just so intense, and that's the way I see horror movies rolling out. You know? Indie Phantom, did you really get Backrooms? I thought it was cooler, but I had a discussion with my friend after. Well, I watched all the YouTube videos, and I watched a little bit of the discussion of Backrooms. And the basic concept goes something like this. A company accidentally either opens the door to these dimensions, or they create them by accident. And this dimension of rooms and furniture, the back rooms, is growing and growing completely out of control. And it's sucking people in and destroying them. Now, early on, it seemed to be like almost accidental, but it takes, as the videos go on, and especially in the movie, it takes a more sinister turn that the back rooms are really trying to lure people in to destroy them or to consume them in its own weird way. But they actually explained a bit of it in the movie, which I was happy to see, but I need more. Indie Phantom, was the psychologist chick's parents killed in some kind of real estate accident in the beginning? I didn't really look into it much beyond the movie. No, her mother was insane and was committed. And the reason they tear down her house is because the mother let it go to hell because she's nuts. And, you know, that's something that happens, right? Somebody lets their house go so completely, you know, it degrades to the point where they're forced to tear it down because it's not safe anymore. So that was the implication in the movie. And her mother ended up going into the insane asylum, which is what, you know, inspired the therapist to become a therapist. And I think that's about all we get out of her in terms of her character. But if you want to see, you know, the Easter eggs, and some of them were in the YouTube videos, like the seagulls and the Christmas tree and a couple other things were in the videos on YouTube first. So really the YouTube videos are just shorter versions of stuff that happened with other characters that are very similar to the movie. The movie's the most coherent version of Backrooms I've seen. But I compare it to sort of an H.P. Lovecraft horror story. It's, you know, it's a horror you can't get your brain around. I don't know if he could sustain that through other movies, but that's sort of the concept. Like, the Backrooms are so large, so vast, so crazy, and so unknowable. The more you look into it, the crazier you get until they just destroy you. And really, the only way is to get out. Get out and just close the portal. Indie Phantom. Oh, yeah, I missed that. Didn't watch those vids. Yeah, they're not in... The two main characters in the movie aren't in the videos. It's all different characters who get trapped in the back rooms and terrible things happen to them. So, the movie kind of evolves a few of the concepts that started in the YouTube videos. So, very interesting to me. But the Odysee, for my money, is a well-executed movie, probably. I didn't say it, but seems that everybody can agree that technically it's a good movie, except for the sound. But, you know, for other reasons, some people don't like it. Whereas I watched Citizen Vigilante, which I really enjoyed, but I have to acknowledge that the filmmaking craft that went into that movie is not very good. It's a little clunky. It just kind of jumps from one thing to the next, and it's not about the filmmaking precision in that movie. It's about the message that pretty much no other filmmaker in Europe is touching right now. And whereas the Odyssey is kind of the opposite. The Odyssey is probably technically great, but you know, the material he used should have elevated the whole thing. The cast he used should have elevated quite a bit of it. But I think because he insisted on doing it his way, I think he even ignored the feminist version of the Odyssey he used for the movie. I think he just ignored the parts he didn't like and just set out to make his own ending, which is a big sort of betrayal to the story. Indie Phantom. The weird thing is the characters kept trying to get into the rooms. I would have been happy to get the F out. Yeah. That's what my girlfriend said watching it. She was like, I just would have left. And I was like, yeah. But when you walk into the room, I could see how it could work, because you walk into the room at first and you're like, well, this is weird. Where did this room come from? And then you go, oh, wait, there's another room. And it just sort of tricks you, and you keep going until eventually you're like, oh, shoot, I'm lost, or something happens. So I can kind of see it working. Like, you wouldn't notice the danger at first. You would just see it as, oh, it's just a room full of furniture. Who put all this stuff here? And it's a room full of weird furniture, too, because when he first gets into the room, he moves. There looks like there's two chairs stacked on each other, and he tries to move them, and they're all one piece. They're not two chairs. It's just, as he explains in the movie, the rooms and the stuff in them are just copies of stuff from the real world. So they're like echoes of reality. Indie Phantom. Okay, going to watch a flick with my dad before bed. Glad to stop by. Still a few weeks of vacay left. Catch you soon, Tony. Catch you soon, Indie Phantom. I would be scared as S. I'm claustrophobic. Later. Peace. Peace. All right. Getting back to the box office. The box office. Yeah, I mean, it's all about the Odyssey. I mean, this week's box office, this is the weekend box office, by the way, was 145 million, and 90 of it is in the Odyssey. So there's like nothing going on. That's it. It's the Odyssey or nothing. Next up is Moana. Still at number 2. It shouldn't even be in the top 10. The only reason that's here is the same reason the Odyssey is doing well. There's nothing else to see. 10.6 million. Next up, here's a new movie. It's called Hades Town, the musical. I don't even know what the hell this is. Yeah, it doesn't even look like... I thought Hades Town, maybe it's an ancient Greece thing, but no. Synopsis: the live theater capture of the hit musical Hades Town, which won 8 Tony Awards in 2019, including Best Musical and the 2020 Grammy Award for Best Musical Theater Album, featuring 5 original principals of the Broadway company. The genre-defying new musical blends modern American folk music with New Orleans-inspired jazz to reimagine a sweeping ancient tale. Is this thing a version of the Odyssey? Now I gotta look it up. Hold on. What is Hades Town, the musical? Hold on. I'm also getting it's a acclaimed stage production, blah, 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 blah. It reimagines the ancient Greek myths of Orpheus and Eurydice, and Hades and Persephone, in a post-apocalyptic Great Depression era setting inspired by New Orleans jazz and folk traditions. So this is another take on ancient Greece, but it's not the Odyssey. Interesting. Wonder why they decided to release that now. Weird. But that was number 3 at 10.2 million. And that was a premiere. Number 4, dropping from 3, is Toy Story 5, still doing 10 million. This will be its 5th week? Yeah, 5th week. Number 5, dropping from 4, Minions and Monsters, 9.7 million. In its 4th week. Number 6, dropping from 5, Evil Dead Burn. Ooh, the rain's coming down. If I get cut off, I don't know, I'll just come back on later. Evil Dead Burn drops to 2.8 million. And I say drops, I mean because the previous movie did 9.7, so this is a big drop. So the first 5 movies basically do 130 of the $145 million box office. So these other movies almost don't matter. So Evil Dead in its 3rd week, 2.8 million. Evil Dead Burn, not interested. Number 7, The Invite, 2.6 million, which is a movie Indie Fandom did like. I may see this on streaming. Seth Rogen. Number 8, dropping from 6, Young Washington, 1.9 million in its 3rd week, I think. Number 9 is Motor City, premieres at number 9, 1.6 million. Now, this is also being talked about all over X. This is Alan Ritchson, Reacher, for those of you who don't know. A 1970s Detroit working class romantic is framed by a ruthless gangster after falling for his girlfriend. After years in prison, he returns with only one mission: revenge. It cost $30 million dollars, and it only opened to 1.6 million. That movie is cooked and will lose money. Why, you might ask? Well, let's see if I have the link here. I don't think I do. No. Let's see. Yeah, so this is some of the people are talking about Alan Richardson. Okay, here it is. Alan Richardson says people should hold on to their anger about oppressors like Trump and the Catholic Church so somebody wakes up in a pool of their own teeth and blood. I'm just supposed to let go of my resentment, and this effing guy is just raping the world that he lives in for whatever gain he personally can have. Now, that's kind of not what he said, but most of it's a quote. What he said was, Guy Ritchie said everybody should wake up with in a pool of their own blood and teeth or something like that. Like everybody should, get knocked down a peg kind of thing was his lesson. But Alan Richardson took from that, his enemies, his political enemies should do that, and mainly Trump. Trump hating is still très chic in Hollywood. It just is. Now, part of that is probably that a lot of the executives who control the money are that way too. And there's no denying that. A lot of women have gotten into the business. They hold positions of power, and they have no qualms about putting their personal feelings in the midst of their work. See, Hollywood's different from any other kind of business. In other businesses, you don't put your personal stuff in it, right? So if you work at a factory that makes cans of peas, it's not a personal thing to make a can of peas. You're just trying to make a can of peas that tastes good and that could be marketed well and has a cool label or whatever. You're not going to feel like you got slighted if the cans of peas, they put 10% less sodium in them, or they change the name or whatever. It's hard to feel. I'm sure some people could, but most people wouldn't feel personally connected to the product of a can of peas. And most people don't feel personally connected to their work necessarily unless it's their business or unless it's their occupation that they love. There are exceptions, but in Hollywood, everybody feels that way about everything they do. But it used to be that the executives didn't feel that way. The executives were kind of apart from that, and they were hated. They were called the suits, and I kind of hated them too. And someone just recently wrote an article called this, Bring Back the Hollywood A-Hole. After decades of pitching Hollywood executives, a veteran director delivers his verdict on the industry in his debut column for The Hollywood Reporter. The quarter zips have taken over. The suits have lost their nerve, and the business desperately needs its monsters back. So one of the guys he mentions in this article is Robert Evans. And Robert Evans was the movie producer. He was a complete, as he would say, a monster, in that he was totally about himself. He would charge everything to movies. He made a cartoon about his own exploits. He was all about his money and his and making movies. He did and he didn't care about the product. He wanted to make money, and he was pretty ruthless about that. But he also tolerated the talent because he knew he needed the talent to make money. But he didn't see himself as the talent. He just saw himself as the decision maker to pick the good talent. And what he's saying in this article, and it's a really good article, if somebody on X posted it, that now you have what are called, he labels them, here's Robert Evans, executive artists. And they're movie execs that think they're artists, and they're not. They absolutely are not. Here are some movie execs, Jeremy Piven as the ruthless Ari from Entourage and Tom Cruise as Les Grossman from Tropic Thunder. You'll remember him. These guys, in his opinion, are needed because there's no adults left in the room in Hollywood. Everybody wants to be an artist, and everybody can't be an artist. And what you need to do is trust your talent to a degree. You can't let them go off the reservation and spend too much money, but you have to know your talent, know your limits, and know what a good movie is. But you don't make that good movie. You hire the people who understand the process of movies. And then get them to make a movie like Obsession for $1 million that makes $400 million. That's a good day at the races. So now they're trying to make movies for the algorithm and for libraries and for subscription rates. Here's Robert Evans goofing around. And they think they can just kind of hide the losses, but they can't. Here's the wrap up for the article. The executive's job is to be the brilliant, greedy, tasteful money animal who funds the dream, and pretending otherwise is what broke the business. The business forgot it's supposed to be a hit-driven, star-driven, spectacle-driven machine, not a lifestyle brand for coastal creatives. They have been calling you a suit like it's an insult. It isn't. It's the job. Wear the suit, be a suit. Because they called them the suits because they wore suits. And now they're not even doing that. So, a really interesting article if you care about the movie and business. It's on the Hollywood Reporter. And it's called Bring Back the Hollywood A-Hole. And I think he's got a point. I really do. Anyhow, I got distracted there. Alan Ritchson stupidly insulted... Oh, and this was one of the things in the article. One of the things in the article was you're supposed to keep your talent from going on a podcast and saying stupid things. So if I was Alan Ritchson's boss at the studio, the first thing I would do is I would call him in and scream at him, and until he was upset. I would threaten to destroy his career. I would bring up every project he's connected to. I would show him actors that I'm thinking about replacing him with, and give him a serious impression that if he doesn't change his ways, I will replace him. And I'd light up his agent's phone and his manager's phone and however many people he has, and sell them on the idea that I'm going to end his career if he goes on one more podcast and says stupid things like this. Now, it's not stupid in that he's not allowed to have an opinion. He's allowed to have an opinion. But it's stupid for him to go on a show, on any podcast or any TV show, and talk about politics because his politics are the opposite of that of a lot of his audience. Reacher is aimed... it's about an ex-Marine. He's very much his own man, and he's not a little wimp. So conservatives love him, and you're insulting the conservatives by going after Trump. And that's not to say you can't do that. You're allowed to. But we don't want to hire somebody who does that, because that's going to hurt the box office. People who like Trump are going to be like, oh, that a-hole. I'm not going to watch his movie. Now, Motor City is not a thing like Reacher. The fans of Reacher really want to see Reacher. And it is a big hit. And I do like Reacher, especially the first season. But I liked it a hell of a lot better before I knew Alan Ritchson's politics. Now, I'm sort of dragging my feet about seeing further seasons of Reacher. I didn't see season 3. I watched season 2. That was okay. Wasn't good as the first one. The first one's great. And the fourth one I have to say, looks better. So I may go back and watch 3 and then go watch 4. I don't know. But none of that helps Alan for his new movie, Motor City. Because if he's the face of that movie, and he kind of is, he needs to go out there and promote it. And if you tell half the audience, well, I hate you, and I hope you get punched in the teeth, and then your teeth fall out, and you're sitting in a pool of your own blood, that is not good. He should not be saying that kind of stuff. He should get completely out of politics. He should come out and say, you know what? I've shot my mouth off about politics too many times. It's hurt my career, and I'm gonna stop doing it. Now, he has the ability to not do that and say, F you, I'm going to say what I want, when I want, and if you don't like it, go pound sand. But when you have a disaster like this, a $30 million movie that opens at $1.6 million, that doesn't look good on your box office record. This is a movie he's starring in. He's the main character. Like, he was in, what was it called? The Department of Ungentlemanly Warfare with Henry Cavill and a couple other people. That's an ensemble piece, so he doesn't get the blame if the movie does poorly. It's more really on the director, Guy Ritchie. However, this movie, they hung it on him. I don't think there's anybody in the cast that's very famous other than him. Let's see. Well, Ben Foster's in it, but he's not. I would say it's questionable if he's as famous as what's the name, Alan Ritchson at this point. Well, he's got a whole multicultural gang here. All right, whatever. Yeah, so Ben Foster's in it. And that's about it, really. Everybody else I don't really know. Jack White, if you count him. So that this movie opens at $1.6 million, it costs $30 million. It's going to lose money. It's going to lose money. So this is a blemish on his record. And he also came out, it's also, the timing of the thing too. He literally just came out with this movie the same week he dumps on Trump and Catholics. If he had waited 2 more weeks to do this, he probably would have been okay. I mean, I've heard Alan Ritchson spout off about his politics before, but I like action movies. I could have talked myself, well, maybe he's done saying political things and I'll watch Motor City, but eventually he would have said something and I would have been like, oh, F that guy. And that's what people say. Again, the normies don't have a high bar to say no or yes. They watch things because, okay, now maybe for a lot of normies, politics is just as unimportant as movies. They're not going to watch it anyway, even if it's good. They watch what they watch. But it's just dumb. Why hurt the movie when you don't have to? What was so important about an actor saying like, oh, I don't like Trump? We've heard hundreds of actors say stuff like that. No one cares. So he should wise up and stop shooting his mouth off, in my opinion. Number 10 is Obsession, 1.5 million. A juggernaut of a movie. $458 million. Incredible. For $1 million investment. That's how you make a movie, guys. That's how you make a movie. So, ain't nothing better than a movie that makes this kind of money. Imagine if Hollywood did this all the time. Imagine the savings, the cost savings. If they can make movies for $1 million again and make $450 million. I mean, it would be, they wouldn't know what to do with the profit. Number 11 is Supergirl, dropping from 9. Yeah, Obsession made money Look at this, 1.5 million. It only cost $1 million. That's almost enough money for it to break even in week. What week is this for this? God, we're headed for 3 months on this movie. 10 weeks, the 10-week mark. Number 11 is Supergirl, dropping from 9, 781K. Somehow still making some money. But where are all the people who defended Supergirl, who defend the Odysee now? I don't hear too much from them. That's because this movie lost money, and they just quietly go away. Just quietly, I don't care about Supergirl. Yeah, now you don't care. Number 12, Jana Nayagan. I don't know what this is. Looks like an Indian movie, a Bollywood thing. Clash of ideology. One fights for the people, the other prospers through control. In the past, they shook. What? In the past, they shook the past. Years later, a child's silent fear reignites the conflict. I don't know what this is, but it appears to be some kind of Bollywood flick. Didn't make much money here. 74K just this week. But it premiered just this week. Excuse me. Number 13 is Disclosure Day, 664K. Here's another embarrassment. Another movie people defended. 239K on 239 million on 115 million. What's that boil down to? Well, it needed to make 230 million to break even for the production. That would leave 9 million. They probably spent 50, 60 million on the advertising. So this is a loss, a $50 million loss, not as big as Supergirl, but a loss, I think. Yeah, so it's more embarrassing for Steven Spielberg, a guy who should be knocking it out of the park. I mean, he set the bar very, very high. But where are all the people who defended this movie and Supergirl? Not on X. They're not talking about it anymore. They just quietly shut up about it. Number 14, Her Private Hell opened. This looked terrible. $538,000. Good luck with that. Pinocchio Unstrung. This is a horror movie with Pinocchio, 386K. Both premiering. Backrooms down at 16, 325K. It's only been in theaters 60 days, made $389 million, but that's still pretty good on a $10 million flick. They're going to do something with Backrooms. I would think what would be really cool would be a TV show. I think a TV show based on Backrooms would be pretty badass. You could really do some exploring of the Backrooms world. Whereas I think in a movie you don't have the luxury of the time. I think you need more time to flesh out Backrooms. So, number 17 is Haunted Heist. 302K. It premieres at 302. That's not good. But I gotta say, the premise of this movie isn't all that bad. It's an all-black cast, I think. 4 estranged friends reunite at a very suspicious, very creepy Airbnb, lured under the guise of a vacation. It turns out one of them is planning to rob the place and needs help in tracking down an ancient, incredibly valuable antique inside the house. What none of them realize is that the place is haunted by a racist ghost with dark motives of their own. Now the ever-bickering quartet must put their differences aside, reconcile their old feuds, and remember how to work together if they have a prayer of surviving the night. So it's basically a comedy, but it's pretty wacky. I gotta say, Rel Howery, Little Rel, directed it and wrote it, so I'm tempted to watch it, but it's not doing well at all, which is a shame because it looks like a genuine attempt at a comedy. Tiffany Haddish is in it too. I'm not a fan of hers, but I would maybe see that on a platform. I wouldn't be willing to pay for it, but if I already had the platform. So maybe if it comes out on HBO Max, I'll watch it. After that is Scary Movie, still hanging around 125K. Next is Jackass, best and last. End of the month, it's done, 88K. 27 million for a movie that made for 10. And yeah, that's money. Again, to me that's totally not worth going to the movies for. Best of show, I'm gonna pay for that? No thanks. Brunello, The Gracious Visionary, premieres at 69.5K. Then Star Wars, The Mandalorian and Grogu, 69K, still lingering in theaters. Uek, 68K. I don't know what this is. Oh, Euchre. Bob Euchre. Uke, that's what it's called. 68K. I remember Bob Euchre. He was kind of funny. He's gone now. Mary Oliver, Saved by the Beauty of the World. I think he's dead, right? Isn't Bob Euchre dead? Let's see. Is Bob Euchre... Yeah, that's it. Yeah, he's dead. January 16th, 2025. At the age of 9? Wow, good run. 90 years old. Then there's Maddie's Secret, that stupid Canadian movie. 51K, in my opinion, stupid. Reading Lolita in Tehran. In its third week, they're trying to jack it up by sticking it in more theaters, I think. Sheep in the Box. No idea. What the hell is this? Oh, wait. I think I did see a trailer for this. 2 years after losing their son, Kerkiru Otone, and her husband, Kensuke, take into their lives a humanoid from a company that rents humanoids to bereaved families as replacements for lost loved ones. The robot looks and behaves exactly like Kikiru, with Otone embracing its arrival as Kensuke struggles to accept it. Living with him seems to restore the flow of time within the family, yet gradually exposes the unspoken wounds and lingering regrets each parent carries after the loss. All the while, he begins to slip away to meet other humanoid children unnoticed by the parents. Weird. It's kind of like AI, only Japanese. What else? Masters of the Universe, still lingering around, 27K. Rose of Nevada, still lingering around, 22K. Jack Johnson, Full Music, whatever that is. Manhunter, the final cut, 21K. Okay, so this is an old flick. Interesting. Gail Daughtry and the Celebrity Sex Pass dropping from 16 to, I don't know, like 25. 14K. The Death of Robin Hood, 13K. Get out of here. The Hole, back in theaters. What was The Hole? It's not The Black Hole. Oh, this is a 1998 Korean flick, I guess. Futuristic story follows two residents of a quickly crumbling building who refuse to leave their homes in spite of a virus that has forced the evacuation of the area. As rain pours down relentlessly, a single man is stuck with an unfinished plumbing job and a hole in his floor. The results are a very odd relationship with the woman who lives below him. It's very strange. Peter Asher, Everywhere Man, 9,500. The Piano, 9,000. Romeria, 8,000. The Floaters, 7,700. Sherman's March, back in theaters, 65K or 6.5K. The Kidnapping of Arabella, 5.4K in its second week, dropping 49%, but it's too little money. Remake, $4,900. Rosebush Pruning. I saw the trailer for this. Underneath the Catalonian sun, a rich white American family lives in a hedonistic isolation, seeking love and validation through one another. Their designer wardrobes and pop music. When an outsider infiltrates the family, buried tensions surface and blood ties are severed. Blue Heron, $1,500. Time and Water, $1,200. Dead Media, $1,000. Silent Friend, the Tree Movie, $1,000. Amrun, $1,000. The Blue Trail, $1,000 exactly. Lucky Strike, $858. The Devil Queens, $462. And Europkaja, $123. Total box office, $145,968,722. All right. So that's the box office. And the Odyssey, of course. All right, moving on. Let's get into the headlines. Emily Wilson, here it is, says she'd be ashamed to have written Nolan's Odyssey, and her full review doesn't let up from there. Yeah, she really blasts them. Did you not pay this woman or something, Nolan? Like, you used her book. Let me get another drink before I go on. Is Joan here? Where's little Joan? Little Joan's in her bag, so you'll have no entertainment while I step away. So enjoy my beautiful backside. One sec. It is storming outside. Storming outside. Ugh. Sorry about that. I needed another drink. And a bathroom break. Okay. Yeah, so Emily Wilson doesn't even like the Odyssey. Weird, huh? I think it's weird. But again, I think it's probably Nolan saying, oh, give me the weirdest book on the Odyssey. Okay. And I'll use that. And then I'll do whatever the hell I want. The Firefly comeback is proving to be a bait and switch. Okay, I don't like the sound of that. I thought they were doing a cartoon. Oh well. Brandon Sanderson calls out J.K. Rowling's fantasy snobbery with a Terry Pratchett assist. Okay. Not sure what that's about. Solomon Kane, The Lion's Errant. #1, solid art, carries a thin opening chapter. The guy to look for a review of that would be Razor Fist. He loves that character. Oh man, he loves that guy. So if Razor likes it, it's probably pretty good. Let's see what I missed while I was away. George R. R. Martin will write almost anything set in Westeros except the Winds of Winter. Okay. Sounds right. Kevin Feige calls himself a gigantic loser over Blade. You are. You are. I think it would have been the easiest slam dunk in the world to bring back Wesley Snipes for one last movie and pass the torch. Pass the torch. Marvel apparently, I think, is determined to have his daughter pick up the torch. Well, if you're going to do it, at least you use Wesley Snipes. But I think, again, it would be super easy. At the end of the movie, Blade or Wesley Snipes kills all his rivals. Probably Steven Dorff again. And dies in a vat of some kind of magical blood, and then Mashashir Ali crawls out of the blood and washes himself off, and he's now a young Blade. And then he just keeps going. Star Trek's 60th anniversary panel celebrated diversity. Who cares? Black Panther casting reveal draws xenophobia accusation from sci-fi author. Oh, good God. Xenophobia? Nadidi Okafor? I don't know how to say that name. Who cares? Who is he? They picked a new guy. They should have picked a new guy a long time ago. Just pick a new guy. Let's see. A Star Trek author's own words reveal how Paramount rewrote her novel twice. The internet is a transparent asylum. Yeah, it sure is sometimes. Michael Shanks launches a new Stargate podcast as #SaveStargate flies a second banner, this time over Comic-Con itself. Look, I think, again, I wasn't the biggest fan of Stargate. It was okay. I like the concept, roundly speaking, but I couldn't get into the show. But, it's basically Star Trek with portals. But whatever. It seemed like the old fans were loving the old cast and the old producers getting the band back together. Why not do it? Why not greenlight it? Variety, brand new day review. Tom Holland returns in a mature adventure that, for all its good action, is trying too hard. Ooh, it did get some mixed reactions, I've heard, but we'll see. Some say Tom Holland has never been better, and a sequel that ditches the multiverse tedium, finally. Children of Blood and Bone trailer, magical African fantasy novel comes to life. I'll have to look at that. More on Emily Wilson slamming Nolan's abysmal screenplay of the Odysee. CNN's Caitlin Collins was not surprised Trump insulted her in the White House Correspondents' Dinner speech. That happens pretty regularly inside. Who cares? Rick Moranis ended acting retirement after nearly 30 years and says it was very strange on Spaceball 2 set. I felt like I was in a time warp. Well, that's nice to see him back. I hope things go well for him. Ross Doubthat, Sebastian Junger, Gianna Tobani, Trevor Phillips to join CBS 60 Minutes. Biological War, TV adaptation in the works at Universal Global Television and Patrick McManus, Littleton Road Productions. Ariana Grande sues hackers for leaking unreleased music and footage. Ooh, that's a big loss for her. Hero fatigue is real. Spider-Man fatigue is not. Kind of a contradictory statement, but I get what you're saying. On-set visual effects workers on Star Wars productions join IATSE. All right. Ari Emanuel. This is Rahm Emanuel's brother, who Ari from the Entourage is supposedly based on. Blast State's trash lawsuit aimed at blocking Paramount-Warner Brothers merger claims it threatens to destroy competition. I don't know about that, but they are stupid. It's a dumb lawsuit. Willie Nelson urges Americans to fight the construction of data centers. They only destroy the environment around them. What, you mean like solar panel fields? Byron Allen's freestyle digital media picks up Jeff Ryan's golf crime comedy Mooch. I like the name. Hollywood Foreign Press Association sues Pensique Media Corporation over Golden Globes purchase. Okay. Emmy Rossum on furious serial killer targeting Jeffrey Epstein-like predators. You don't want to root for her, and yet maybe she's got a point? Not sure what that's about. All right. Let's move on to Bounding into Comics. MTG Secret Lair X Stardew Valley collab is finally here. Okay, Paramount buyout of Warner Brothers Discovery frozen until next year by court order. Malware found in Mecha Chameleon Steam Workshop maps. That doesn't sound good. Over at the Hollywood Reporter, more on Ari. Let Hollywood creatives get back to trying to rip each other's heads off. He backs the Paramount Warner's deal. So what? Like, the WME exec, chairman, and CEO of TKO. I don't know what you can do, Ari. I mean, you could say stuff. Does that move the needle? Lionsgate CEO John Feltheimer's pay rises up to $19.4 million in 2026. Seems kind of high for Lionsgate, don't it? Ryan Murphy reveals American Horror Story Season 13 brings together all previous seasons. It's like the Avengers. I don't know. I stopped watching that a long time ago. Good luck. Tom Holland says he'll play Spider-Man for as long as they'll have me after Brand New Day. If this movie does good, I guess we'll see. Well, that doesn't sound like a very strong endorsement, but he is a really good Peter Parker, so... Michael B. Jordan reacts to David Johnson's Black Panther 3 casting. Like, so what? He wasn't Black Panther. He was Killmonger. The worst name in the MCU history, I think. New Star Trek series blames capitalism for societal collapse. Of course it does. Of course it does. Commie Star Trek is here. Upcoming Star Trek comic book series from IDW. Well, there you go. There you go. Please. Please, IDW, will you just fire everyone and start over? 2026 Comic-Con panel revealed a lot more about Lantern series. Oh, boy. Who cares? There's so many articles I just go, who cares? Because who cares about... Like, once you've heard Green Lanterns is, first off, written by... or helped produced by Damon Lindelof, I was out, but once you hear that they thought, Green Lanterns was stupid and that it would be cooler to shorten it to Lanterns, I mean, how dumb do you got to be, in my opinion? You just get out. Like, that's the moment where you get out. Because if the show was any good, you'll hear about it. You'll hear people talking about it. And not normies, like people who are like, who actually know the comic a little bit. Amazon's Blade Runner 2099 looks cheap and generic. Oh, shocker. So, this one stars a trans girl, so that'll be hilarious. Now, Hunter, who's the trans girl in this, I saw her in another movie where I just saw the trailer. I don't think they mentioned that Hunter was trans, and I don't think it was a plot point in the movie. So I give it some credit, but announcing like, oh, we're doing $20.99 with a trans girl, it's like, come on, stop. Nolan hints at horror project after the Odysee. Yeah, of course you do, because everybody's doing horror again. Reacher star Alan Ritchson exposes his severe TDS again. Marvel's Tom Holland teases Miles Morales in live-action debut. Are they going to bring in Miles? Come on. That could be a problem. All right, more of the same from Deadline. Let's see. The Odyssey to pass Oppenheimer and Lifetime BO in 13 days. 13 days. So 2 more weeks, essentially? Possible. It depends on how much it drops in the third week now. Now, normally, you would look at the numbers and say, oh my God, it only dropped 27%. That means next week, it'll probably only drop, 90 million. It's only going to drop 20 million. It'll be at 70. Maybe. But it's going to be up against Spider-Man. That's got to eat away at it. It has to. And so the second week could be an aberration. This thing could drop bigly in the third week because it's up against Spider-Man. And now the movie's in the third week. The people who saw it in the theaters. And I don't know. We'll see. Prime Video, Rogers Communication reached 12-year deal for exclusive NHL broadcast. Well, there you go, Canucks. You got hockey. Netflix boards the Airport Chaplain Australian drama series starring Hugo Weaving and Shabana Aziz. Interesting. Kind of a weird concept, I guess. Artist First signs Project Hail Mary's James Ortiz. Yeah, he should sign him. He's good. Here comes Spider-Man Brand New Day. $465 million worldwide opening. Set to be the second biggest ever for Sony. That's pretty good, if that's true. But that's an opening. See, that's what Odysee should have done, could have done, in my opinion. All right, going to Cosmic Book News. Spider-Man Brand New Day. Rotten Tomatoes scored 90%. Certified fresh. For what Rotten Tomatoes is worth. Hollywood's most famous agent calls the merger lawsuit trash. Ariel Emanuel again. Steve Lacy spoils Sadie Sink's Spider-Man character. She's the spoiler. Okay. A spoiler isn't in the MCU, so I guess it's Jean Grey. Superhero fatigue is BS. Spider-Man and the Avengers Doomsday just proved it again. I guess. I mean, I think, again, a lot of this, Spider-Man, all the movies have been good up to now. Maybe this one isn't, but I think it'll be good. At the very least, if it's a drop down, it won't be much. Avengers, I don't know, man. We'll see. But I think a lot of that's riding on momentum that it's still kind of going to have in December of this year. And it depends on what it opens against. I mean, if it opens against nothing in the middle of December, yeah, it's the holidays. People go out. Comic-Con drops bombshell. Maybe we need to explore getting rid of Hall H. Okay. Who cares? You could always move it to somewhere else, right? Or you mean getting rid of the programs in Hall H forever? I mean, that seems stupid. Foreign box office killed woke Hollywood, says insiders. Maybe, to some extent. Chris Nolan saved Zack Snyder, says insiders. Okay. Maybe. Keanu Reeves was also up to play Ghost Rider in the MCU. Ooh, that could have been cool. I think people would have liked that. Kevin Feige confirms no MCU movies between Doomsday and Secret Wars, but spreads thin is spin. Adriana Arjona hasn't filmed The Man of Tomorrow yet. Why it points to Wonder Woman. Okay, maybe. At comicbookmovie.com, there was an article here. Where is it? Avengers Doomsday star Robert Downey Jr. has seen a cut of the movie. We may redeem ourselves yet. What is he going to say? Oh, it sucks. Oh, it sucks. Spider-Man Brand New Day review. Tom Holland swings to new heights in action-packed love letter to comics. I like the sound of that, but movie is probably going to be very positive. Guess that was it. I don't remember. How many post-credit scenes does Spider-Man Brand New Day have? Here's your spoiler-free answer. Well, can't be an answer if it's spoiler-free, but I'll click. I'll give you the click. Blah, 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 blah. Yes, there's one that comes right at the very end of the credits. There's no mid-credit scene. Is it worth waiting for? Well, that's currently being debated after a leak has suggested it will be surprisingly low-key. Okay. Let's see. Spider-Man Brand New Day, Holland's Heart carries MCU sequel. VOD streaming haven't killed this horror sensation. That's Obsession. How to sneak a peek at the Passion of the Christ sequel. Did they even finish shooting it yet? At That Park Place, Steve Lacy spoils Spider-Man Brand New Day's biggest secret during a red carpet interview. Oopsie. Bible study group at Walt Disney World sparks debate and controversy. New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani accused of doxing celebrity supporters with pied a tier tax list. Yeah, he doxed every rich person in New York City for having more than one home. Basically saying, get rid of your second home. I think that's basically what he said. And here's the scam. I consider it a scam. The city has to approve now when you sell your houses, they have to approve you selling it at the price you want. And, so it basically puts the city in control about whether or not you can sell your own property. And I think they might get a bite at it. They might be able to buy it, which would just be weird. Get the hell out of New York is my advice. All black, Children of Blood and Bone cast called out for lack of diversity after Odysee backlash. Yeah, so this is the hypocrisy of it all. You're going to jam in a bunch of races and people who don't look the part in the Odysee, but when it comes to an all-black Children of the Blood and Bone Africa thing, you're not going to do the same thing? Well, that's not fair. People dislike fairness. Now, personally, I'm perfectly fine with an all-black African tale, whatever. Sure. I'm not okay with the Odysee. Obviously, I'm not going to go see it. So, Monica Rambeau, seemingly not in Avengers Doomsday, despite Marvel's post-credit scene. I'm sure she'll make a quick cameo. Maybe they'll just be in it long enough to kill her off or something. Over at Breitbart, the fatal economics of Mamdani's government grocery stores. Yeah, it should be illegal. Immigrant Business Group votes to sue New York City over Mamdani's grocery stores. Good. President delivers touching eulogy for Lindsey Graham. Saudi Arabia says Iran proxies in Iraq are launching drones at its oil facilities. Uh-oh. Hate, stupidity, Rep. Bacon slams citizen opposition to visa workforce bill. Migrant K-12 enrollment falls in Massachusetts with Trump migration enforcement. Indiana University Initiative partnered with org linked to Hamas Muslim Brotherhood. Latest polling gives GOP hope to hold U.S. House. Oh, Jesus, just hope? Socialist Valdez calls Puerto Rico a colony once its debt canceled. Once you pay off your debt. Teen lifeguard becomes hero saving child from massive waves at beach. ESPN's Monica McNutt accuses Caitlin Clark of failing the sisterhood in the WNBA. Senator bill to charge employees $10,000 fee for sponsoring foreign worker applications. Musk launches X-Money financial services platform to replace banks. I don't know, Eli. Police, hundreds on e-bikes, swarm downtown Orlando in teen takeover. And finally, over at the New York Post, more on Mamdani's grocery stores. Let's see. Oh, wait. Before we go to that, I forgot. Breitbart's entertainment section. That's what I normally go to. Communist China rolls out the red carpet for the Odysee. Oh, it hasn't shown in China yet. It's featuring the film in nearly 800 IMAX screens for its opening in China. Wow. That could be very lucrative. That sort of changes the math of next weekend. This could mean that the Odysee, they're pulling out all the stops to make sure this movie doesn't drop more than 50%. That could keep it up in the air. Absolutely. 800, really, that's 1,600 screens because they're paying double. Now, Hollywood makes less money from China, but still, if they're charging double, then they're making almost as much. So I guess it would be like 800 regular theaters. And that, I mean, I assume there's some regular theaters in that mix too. Yeah, I was kind of surprised that China wouldn't play the Odysee. Doesn't seem to offend their sensibilities in any way. Bootleg versions of the Odysee leaked on X, viewed by millions. I don't think it's hurting anything. I mean, do you really want to see it on X? John Nolte's Supergirl, biggest flop in 13-year history of DC Extended Universe. Crowd cheers when Frankenstein director Guillermo del Toro says absolutely no GDAI. Rosie O'Donnell sings about Trump's teeny tiny penis, dirty diapers, days after claiming he's obsessed with her. Weird. Weird, Rosie. Pope Leo will host Andrea Bocelli and Children's Choir and televised concert for peace. More on Alan Richson urges Americans to stoke their anger over Trump to the point of bloodshed. It's not exactly what he said, but he's basically implying it, I think. Trump-hating Reacher star self-sabotaged his box office bomb, Motor City. Well, it also has very little dialogue in it, and that may have impacted it, but it didn't help. Children's Netflix star Miss Rachel donated $3,000 to pro-Hamas Michigan Dem Abdul El-Said's Senate campaign, because of course she did. Reality star Morgan Stewart reveals how LA's crime crisis has Hollywood panicking. Everyone I know has gotten robbed. Dylan Mulvaney responds to Trump Caitlyn Collins joke and weird WHCD speech. Boy George infuriates Israel haters with new song We Will Dance Again honoring October 7th victims. Oh, good for him. Grammy-winning singer Carly Simon reveals Parkinson's diagnosis. Very sad. Rape and assault case against British rapper Young Philly heading to jury in Australia. All right, let's go back to the New York Post. See if there's anything worth talking about. Crowd yells as Iran holds public hanging for 2 protesters dishonorable. It's a shame. More Americans now use weed every day than drink or smoke cigarettes. Food prices up 33% as U.S. battles highest grocery price spike in 50 years. No relief in sight. Yeah, I gotta cut back. It's really, as a guy who loves food, it's hurting me. We got to get this war over with. Hot tub tryst, bedroom antics, and how it blew up in their faces. Explosive story of Newsom's affair as told by his secret lover. Hubby from hell, wife murdered alongside 6 kids, accused killer husband of affair with younger intern. An explosive online post. Not good. Left for dead. Americans deserve a political choice, but the left has gone insane. True. Grisly new details in trans son's alleged murder of mom in California with grandmother discovering bloody scene. Oh my God. Come on. That's not trans. That's mental illness. When you're looking like that, you make zero attempt to present. Yeah, you got to take the kid. Group demands federal investigation into trans dolls with removable genitalia that will soon hit Minnesota classrooms. Yeah, that sounds like you should arrest somebody. Here's Netanyahu visiting. Pro golfer pranked caddy with a $100K lottery ticket, nearly quit the job. Hope he gave him $100K after that. Anthony Fauci enlisted Obama and media friends to beat back Beagle torture allegations. It's terrible. Hilaria Baldwin divulges the extreme she took during 20-year eating disorder, including counting toothpaste as calories. Well, she looks very skinny there. Lindsey Graham's funeral. There's Tom Holland as Spider-Man. More than 12,000 pounds of Canadian bacon recalled after USDA issues grave alert. Oh my. Content creator spends night in ER after gnarly injury from wild TBT brawl. Ooh, yeah, that does look nasty. RoboFlop, plans for AI-powered Sally bot in New York classroom paused after sex doll affiliations. It really was affiliated as a sex doll? That's crazy. I thought that was just a joke. Body cam captures moment cops walk into bloody scene in Idaho college murders. Oh, God. How much longer you got to keep doing this? Battle of the sexes. Bougie alpha male retreat bans women for holding back their growth, but critics call it an echo chamber of misogyny. No, I don't care what gay guys do. Arizona mass shooter fires wildly in the crowd in shocking video before hero cop takes him down. Nice job, hero cop. Former Rangers star rushed to hospital after scary home collapse, so get better soon. Here's the kid being saved by the 16-year-old lifeguard. Good for you. Let's see. Feeling lucky in Lotto. There's still time to choose the luckiest Mega Millions number before tonight's drawing. Not as I'm taping this. Hochul's team salivates over chance to tax LeBron James in cringy social post, but they may have spoken too soon. He could live outside the city. I would live in New Jersey if I were him. Struggling wine industry plots major pivot that could change what Californians drink forever. Sarah Michelle Gellar doubles up on chic bikinis in south of France. She still looks pretty good, I gotta say. Her eyes are doing something weird. Justin Baldoni's wife takes savage dig at Blake Lively in anniversary tribute. High school football standout jumps to his death off California cliff as coach drops powerful 6-word message. Oh my God. Cracker Barrel to pay outgoing CEO's security costs, $4.6 million in exit fees after failed rebrand attempt. Yeah, nothing like failing upwards, right? Party host dies after falling on wine glass, but cops say it may not be a freak accident. I think that's about it. Oh no. Epstein arranged same-sex marriage for his dentist girlfriend so she could get a green card. Not surprised. I think that's about it. Yep, that's it for me. Tony D and Little Joan. I'm going to wrap it here, mainly because nobody's in the chat. I know, I did it on a Tuesday. What was I supposed to do? Next week, what's going on next week? Next week will be August the 3rd, Monday, and we'll be on time. I got nothing scheduled for Monday, so join me then on Monday. I want to thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.